Hey everyone, welcome to the High Priestess Demari channel and to another collective reading. I hope you're all doing well. So I do have a new deck here that I've been wanting to use. So we're going to dive into that and see what you need to know. So what is the message for the collective? Boundaries. Love may challenge your boundaries. Protect them. Interesting. Tell me more for the collective. Nurture. Nurture your relationships like blooming flowers. They will flourish. Very nice. One more. Sacrifice. Love may come with sacrifices. Evaluate what you're willing to give up. Yeah. Bottom of the deck, celebrate. Today, celebrate the love you share with those who matter most, okay? So for some of you guys, you may be in a period of reflection, introspection that makes sense at the time of me filming this. We have a Mercury retrograde coming up in the sign of Leo, okay? So it makes sense that these themes are coming up for you at this time, okay? So it's a good time to introspect, to reflect, and be clear on what it is that you want and having the courage to express that, okay? And especially when it comes to anything that you feel like does need to change, something that you do want to emphasize, something you want to introduce, or something you want to experience, okay? It's important that you're having that open communication, especially if you are in a relationship or there's someone of interest, okay? You do want to make sure that you're clear on whether or not your goals are aligned, okay? If you want the same thing when it comes to a relationship or a commitment, what are your deal breakers, okay? Where you are willing to compromise, things of that nature. It's possible that if there is a particular person that you want to be with, then there may be a need for compromise, or there may be a need to assess what you're willing to potentially give up or change in order to make the union work. And same for them as well. It's not one-sided, right? But yeah, it may not be as easy as just saying, oh yeah, we can be together and everything's fine. There may be some changes that are required at this time for that to happen, okay? So we'll have a look at more detail. Oh, interesting how this card is sticking up. True colors. Yeah, exactly. So this is it, right? This is the time for transparency and honesty when it comes to what you want, how you feel, okay? How you view the situation. And obviously the other person involved needs to be honest with you as well, okay? Maybe you're starting to realize that perhaps you're not as compatible as you once thought, or perhaps, you know, this person here may be all talk for some of you. Again, that's where boundaries are important, right? So if you feel like this person is saying what you want to hear, or they're trying to convince you, okay, use their words to convince you into maybe tolerating something that you don't feel like you should tolerate, now's the time to be honest and upfront, okay? To confront that in a mature way, right? Tell me more about this for the collective. Yeah, so that may be a challenge for you at this time. Yeah, because especially, like I say, if you do want this to work, you do have to be honest with your person. It's not about going along to get along, okay, and just appeasing them. No, because that's how resentment can grow. So if you know that there's a way of moving or actions they're taking or a way of communicating that you are at odds with or you're not in agreement with, okay, then you do need to be upfront and honest about that. Also, if you feel like they are encroaching on a boundary or they're expecting you to settle, okay, for something that you're less than deserving of, then again, that's something that you need to ask yourself. Are you willing to make that kind of compromise, right? If they're expecting you to make that compromise, then, you know, especially if it is something that, you know, you don't feel like you really should be compromising on, if you think it's something that would diminish your value or you feel like it's a sign of disrespect, then, you know, not that it would diminish your value, but if it gives you that feeling that that's what that person's trying to do, then that's definitely something you want to take seriously and, you know, possibly even consider a red flag, okay? Because anyone that truly values you will not try to force you to do something or be away or accept something that really erodes your self-worth, confidence, or happiness, okay? So just something to consider. Yeah. See, that's the thing, with I love you and happily single. It's even if this person does, right, genuinely care for you, love you, okay, it needs to correlate. It needs to translate across their actions, right? Not just, when the two of you are physically intimate or when the two of you are together and they're essentially getting the best of you or getting your support, your kindness, your nurturing, okay, is getting your love. This person needs to be also pouring into the relationship in the same way, right? But, if this is someone who is saying all of these sweet things to you, telling you they want all of these things, but then the moment they're away from you, they're acting like they're they're an eligible bachelor or bachelorette, then you have an issue, right? So it can't be that they are playing the role of dutiful hubby or wifey, in your presence. But then as soon as your back's turned, they're acting like, they're a free agent. No, that's something that, does need to be addressed for sure. Because if you are looking for a monogamous relationship, then, that way of behaving is not gonna cut it. Exactly. But this is it. I feel like you are generally quite confident. You're quite secure within your own being. Okay? I feel like you've accomplished a lot. Yeah. And I honestly don't feel like you need to settle. What for? Right? So, I don't doubt that you care for this person, that you love this person, or you have feelings for them. And they may feel the same way. But if their actions are not marrying their words, if their actions are showing you the opposite of what they're relaying to you, then that tells you something, right? Either this person has a problem with following through with their promises, they have commitment issues, or this person is just simply not sincere, right? So either way, these are issues. So you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to give up to have this person in your life to this capacity, right? Are you willing to potentially risk your confidence in order to, and your self-esteem, because that's what it comes down to. Are you willing to completely corrode your self-esteem just to be with this person, or, continue the illusion of being in a relationship with this person, or even dating them? Like, that's something you need to ask yourself. Would you be better off, single, or do you want to continue to feed into this connection, knowing that this person, their words and their actions are really not on the same page, right? So just something to consider. All right, give me more on this. Yeah, you have running and cope. See, that's the thing. I feel like if the two of you are constantly getting into fights, arguments, and then they'll just storm off, maybe go out for drinks with their friends, or just drink at home alone and just ignore your calls, that's really not going to work either, because how are you going to resolve the issues if you can't actually sit down and have, an amicable conversation, if you can't actually sit down and resolve them and get to the root of these issues without it being a fight and then, them essentially going ghost or disappearing, running off, okay, storming off, and basically just drinking essentially. Hopefully this person doesn't actually have a drinking problem. It's just concerning how, there's alcohol being displayed twice here already. So that could even be something of an argument for you, right? That's something you have been arguing over. The fact that this person has a tendency, whenever you argue, to just drink themselves under the table, or maybe you argue because this person may actually be developing a drinking problem, already have one, and maybe that's something you wasn't aware of until now. Maybe this person was better at concealing it before than they are now. But yeah, I just feel like if that's something obviously that's, causing issues, then that's, again, something you need to ask yourself. Is this something you're going to tolerate? Is this something that you're going to allow? So, because if you're not okay with it, then, you need to ask yourself, why do I keep pouring into this situation? And like I said in the beginning, you know, for any relationship to work, there does have to be compromise. There has to be certain boundaries, okay? There has to be respect, understanding, a willingness to make certain changes. And it just looks like none of that is present here, right? So if you know this person is not willing to make the necessary changes, then that tells you what you need to know. Because if they're not doing it for themselves, then the sure as heck they're not going to do it for you, right? Yeah. And this could be something that's brewing as well. Like, these arguments could be becoming more and more frequent. This person will be storming off, and then they may actually be going out, acting as if they're not even in a relationship. So, and of course, if you find out that this person's been, like, just hanging out with their friends, drinking, maybe even, like, communicating with, you know, people they find attractive while they're out and about and stuff, I feel like that's definitely gonna piss you off, right? So, yeah. But again, this is a cycle. This is something that's been going on for a while now. Yeah. This is something that's been going on for a while now. And it's making you feel rejected. It's making you feel unheard, disrespected. Like, this person doesn't care how the situation makes you feel. So this is definitely an issue. It does need to change, right? If you find yourself in this situation where you've got maybe like an on and off relationship, or, you know, these issues just keep surfacing, you keep having the same conversations that lead to the same arguments, this person then storms off, ends up either drinking at home or going out with their friends, getting drunk and maybe flirting with other people, right? Yeah, I just feel like this is something that's really brewing under the surface, is really triggering you. And I think you're just sick of it being repetitive, right? Seeing no change whatsoever. But there's nothing here that tells me that this person even recognizes that this is an issue, right? So, again, you have to ask yourself, how much longer are you willing to put up with this behavior? How much longer are you willing to sacrifice your own sanity, well-being, happiness, okay? Are you willing to corrode your self-worth? Because honestly, it looks like you're really solid in yourself. But a situation like this could wear you down if it isn't already, especially if this is going on for a while. So there definitely needs to be a change here, right? So if you are experiencing this situation, then clearly there is a lesson here that needs to be learned about self-worth, okay? And if people are not if a person isn't respecting your boundaries and keeps showing you the same behaviors, you can't expect different results, right? That means that they have chosen not to change. So what are you going to choose to do about it, right? So what is the hidden truth from this person then? Oh, 1 second. We both know I'm not the one for you. Well, no kidding, right? Because like I say, you may care for this person, you may love them, they may feel like they love you, but I don't know, I just feel like their actions are very contradictory, right? And even if they do feel like they love you, you know, it's not enough for them to want to change. So this is the thing, I just feel like this person isn't ready for possibly the kind of commitment you're looking for, right? Because I feel like you are willing to make certain changes and adjustments, but this person isn't. So, and especially I feel like a lot of it may be rooted to some kind of drinking problem here. I'm so attracted to you. Yeah, I mean, yes, it goes without saying that there's chemistry here, but chemistry isn't enough, right? Chemistry is definitely not enough. But they already know this, right? And they're fully admitting that they know they're not the right person for you. They're not a good match for you, right? And they're just bringing you down, but they don't want to let you go because of what you bring to the table and who you are. So I replay our conversations over and over. Yeah, for sure. Because nothing changes. They know it needs to change, but they're not willing to do that. I hide behind material things. Yeah. That's it, you know. It's that should say in this equation, right, in this particular read, I hide behind surface level things. You know, and that's it. This person isn't going to change. There is something underlying all of this, right? There is something that's affecting them, that's impacting them, but they're not addressing it. So until they do that, this will not change. So you've got to ask yourself, for how long are you willing to put up with this behavior? Because you can't be a crutch for someone who refuses to do the work, right? So this person is not willing to make any sacrifices or any changes, but it does look like they expect you to and put up with it, right? To sacrifice your happiness for their behavior. But again, I'm grateful for the spiritual lesson. This is a lesson you both need to learn, right? You on enforcing your boundaries to the point that you are okay with walking away, even if you love someone, for the sake of protecting your own well-being, okay? And this person needs to learn that they cannot use people as coping mechanisms, right? And where they have detrimental behaviors, where there's clearly some kind of wounding or issue or something that remains unresolved, that's not going to get better until they actually address it, okay? So there's lessons across the board here that needs to be learned. But if this is you, if you are someone who is entertaining bad behavior from someone here, it's time to wake up and smell the coffee, okay? This person, this is how they operate. It's not going to change because they don't have a willingness to change, at least not right now. So you've got to ask yourself, how much more are you willing to put up with, right? And also, whilst you're trying to resolve the situation, heal this relationship, what is this person doing to do just that? Are you the only one carrying the weight of this connection on your back, this relationship or this, connection, if you're just dating? How much more are you willing to sacrifice? Because you're already unhappy, right? And yes, like I say, in relationships, there has to be compromise. Both people must be willing to make certain adjustments, changes, work together. But in this case, you're just expected to put up, to shut up and put up. And that can't be the case, all right? So guys, just something to consider if you are in a relationship like this, okay? Yeah, because it shouldn't be like this, right? It shouldn't be, especially if you're just getting to know each other or you're dating, right? And you're starting to see the glaring red flags now. Like, this is an indication of what's to come, right? These early phases or stages of the relationship are supposed to be the happiest, some of the happiest or some of the most, exciting or the most passionate, right? But instead, you're fighting all the time with this person rather than celebrating the union. So, to the point where you literally feel unappreciated, unwanted by this person. And you're fed up with their behavior. You could be a divine feminine, right? So you could be, someone who's very open to love and wants to experience, a sacred bond. But even this person is admitting, they can't be that person to you. This person has a lot of secrets, okay? Yeah, so this person is moving very shady. And I think you're starting to realize that. So with all the will in the world, if this is how this person is and how they move, it doesn't matter how much chemistry there is between the two of you, right? If there's nothing of more substance, if there's nothing solid, if this person isn't someone with integrity or isn't someone who's willing to show up in the way you do, then it's not gonna work. So just something to keep in mind, okay? Because obviously someone needed to hear this message, so I hope it does serve whoever needed this, okay? Again, I'm not telling you to just leave them and ignore them. No, I'm just saying it's important to be aware that this is a kind of situation that if it continues, it is going to bring you down. It's going to wear you down to the point where your self-esteem may be completely eroded. So that's just something you really do need to be mindful of, because this is just meant to serve as a lesson when it comes to boundaries, when it comes to not diminishing your light just to have someone in your life, okay? So guys, I hope this helps. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you did resonate with it or if you enjoyed the reading, do hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts, okay? And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. I'd love to have you part of the community here. Take care of yourselves and I will chat to you later. Bye.